Winchester man speaks of his ordeal.
It's always going to be
Spending cuts start to bite in Winchester. And in sport, Winchester fight back against Hayling United. Good afternoon, welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Gable. A Winchester man seriously injured in an unprovoked attack has spoken to Winol about his ordeal. The 31-year-old youth worker, who was left with 7 stitches to his head, spoke out after his attacker pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm. He spoke to crime correspondent Andrew Giddings.
This is how Lee Culhane's night ended, with Lee laying on Winchester's City Road as blood poured from a wound on his head. The attack came as Lee walked home from a fancy dress party with his girlfriend when they were approached by 2 men.
2 guys chose to say some things that she found disagreeable, questioned them, and when confronted by one of them, I stepped in to mediate the situation and was, whilst having my back to 2 guys that had sort of caused some form of grievance, decided to hit me over the head with a bottle.
The man who struck Lee was 29-year-old Jamie Hibbert of Staple Gardens in Winchester, the moment of his arrest captured here on CCTV. By this time, Hibbert had already assaulted another man, and Lee had been taken to hospital, where doctors treated his injury with 7 stitches. This week, over a year after the incident, Hibbert pleaded guilty to grievous bodily harm. After the trial, Lee was able to talk about the night he was assaulted.
It felt like somebody had put their thumbs in my ear to block my ear holes, and then there was a ringing at the same time, and I was just like, what was that? And it was only a couple of seconds after that did I realise that when I looked, there was blood everywhere all over my head. It was by the end of the first week when I did get a bit emotional. I felt quite teary and angry as well.
This is where Lee lay waiting for the ambulance to arrive after the attack. The police officer in charge of the prosecution said,
"This was a nasty and unprovoked attack, but thankfully one that is rare in Winchester, and I'm happy that the weight of evidence has led to Jamie Hibbert's conviction."
Hibbert will be sentenced next month and may face jail. But the victim simply hopes his attacker has learnt his lesson.
You know, if he has any integrity about himself, then he'll go, oh, actually, that was a mistake, shouldn't have done that, I'm not going to do it again. If it means one less person thinking they can go out and smack people over with bottles just for the sake of it, then hopefully society can be a better place.
There has been another warning this week that council spending cuts will mean job losses at Winchester City Council. Speaking on Winol's Hot Topics debate this week, a senior Conservative promised to protect frontline jobs, but admitted other staff will have to be cut to balance the books.
Ian, do you know in particular what sort of sectors and areas within the council and the public sector will be affected the most by the budget cuts?
No, invariably it's always going to be back office staff, and we're going to protect frontline services, but the scale of the cuts is going to impact upon the services we deliver to residents in Winchester, but those details are yet to be determined, so that I'm afraid we have ahead of us. So precise job losses are not that clear at the moment.
Our political correspondent Joey Lipscomb is in the newsroom. So then, Jerry, where will these jobs go?
Well, Jake, you know, Liberal Democrats group leader Kelsey Lerney has described the difference between frontline positions and backline positions as slightly vague. So they can say they'll protect frontline jobs all they like, but we still don't really know what they are. We know that 70 jobs have to go. That's roughly 15% of the staff that the council employs. But the grey area remains in where frontline ends and when backlines begin.
You mentioned the amount of cuts there, Joey. What type of cuts are we looking at?
Well, a number will come from natural wastage, of course. That does leave the possibility for some compulsory redundancies.
And lastly, Joey, when will this turn from plans into action?
Well, Ian Tate, who you saw from the clip there, told me earlier today that all staff involved will receive a paper presentation explaining the whole situation, and that cuts could start from as soon as November. So these plans are very much a reality.
Thank you, Joey. To watch that Hot Topics debate in full, and for more features on news that matter to you, please visit www.winol.co.uk. More staff are off work due to stress at Hampshire County Council. An investigation by Winol has uncovered a 10% increase in staff absence in the last year alone. Stuart Appleby has the details of our exclusive report.
There has been an increase in employees at Hampshire County Council not attending work because of stress and depression. 256 employees missed work from the end of 2009 to the end of 2010. This is above the national average. One local expert believes stress and depression in the workplace cannot be underestimated.
Is to remember that stress is not good for you, therefore it is important to do something about it. So you can do that by talking to your employer, to your HR department to help you to cope with it, by learning skills to deal with your stress.
Of the 42,500 employees employed by Hampshire County Council at the end of 2010, there are in total 2,306 absent days taken by staff due to stress and anxiety during this period. This equates to around 18 days taken off per year by individual members of staff. The Liberal Democrats feel the County Council's future job cut threats have contributed to staff absentees.
The situation that there is today, where there are big cuts in the offing and threats to people's jobs, I would expect the numbers to escalate. You've got a mortgage, you've got a family to look after, and you don't know what the employment situation will be like. So yes, of course it's stressful, very stressful.
The Tory-run County Council defended the opposition's claims.
The current economical climate has not had a dramatic impact on the employee absence statistics. The County Council's staff absent rates are in line with the national average for the public sector.
With public spending cuts imminent, employee absenteeism could continue to rise. Stuart Appleby, Winchester News Online.
Former England cricketer David Gower was one of the celebrities who received an honorary doctorate from the University of Winchester on Friday. Amy Pickering has more.
Cricket legend David Gower was awarded an honorary doctorate at the university's graduation ceremony last Thursday.
It's a lovely moment. It's always nice, I say, to be recognised whenever it comes.
Gower, who is one of the most capped and highest scoring players in English Test cricketing history, received the honour for his contribution to sport.
This is obviously, 20 years beyond my sporting career, but I like to feel that actually it's the right place to be because it recognises sport. We're recognising the other sides of sport, i.e. what I do now with television and broadcasting. And I hope it implies that over those 30 years or so of sport and broadcasting, I've set a couple of standards, a couple of decent standards, which are being recognised here today.
The former batsman was full of praise for Winchester's class of 2010.
All I want to say to them is congratulations. Obviously, they've done the courses here, got their degrees. You know, I've not sat down here for the last 3 years at my desk, penning away furiously. I confess that.
David Gower was one of 8 celebrities awarded the doctorate this year. Amy Pickering, Winchester News Online.
And now it's time for your sport with Karen Purnell.
Thanks, Jake. Well, Zach Glasspool was the hero for Winchester City at the weekend as they fought back from 2-0 down to win 3-2 at Hayling United. William Cooper witnessed the drama.
Winchester made it 2 wins on the trot in the Wessex Premier League on Saturday as they left Hayling Island with all 3 points. The game didn't get started too early in the second half, Tom Ray dinking the ball over Scott O'Rourke. Despite Winchester's dominance, the home side soon found themselves 2 goals up, Lenny Burney tapping in from close range. But 4 minutes later, prolific striker Nathan Lynch once again got himself on the scoresheet, scooping in from a Danny King corner. And it was King again who was integral in the Winchester equaliser when his cross-come shot evaded everyone, including the home keeper. From the restart, Winchester flew out the blocks and Zach Glasspool slammed home Winchester's second goal in 2 minutes to secure the lead for the away side. Winchester saw out the game and the great comeback saw City cement themselves as genuine title contenders for the Wessex Premier League.
I'm joined now by Guy Butters, manager of Winchester City. Hi, Guy. So after watching the highlights there, how do you feel about the performance of your team this season?
Yeah, I think we're doing very well. We're second in the league at the moment, although we've played a lot more games than other teams. They've got them breathing down our necks, but I can't see any reason why if we continue to do the form that we're doing at the moment, then we can't at least go up to Christmas top of the league.
Okay. And Winchester are doing so well in the league. How does it feel to go out of both the FA Vase and the FA Cup so early on?
Yeah, I mean, they're disappointing results for us. We didn't perform particularly well on them games, but on the flip side, it gives us time to concentrate on the league. Working our way up the table. But in the cup games, it does generate a lot of money for the club if you go through and advance in the rounds.
A few of the under-18 players have broken into the first team recently. How important have they been over the last couple of weeks?
We've just come through the end of a really bad injury crisis. At one stage we only had 13 players fit for the squad, so it was important that we had a good relationship going with the Winchester City youth team. We managed to get 3 of their players in that have done very well for us this season. OK, and finally, is there real belief in your squad of players for promotion chance? Yeah, I mean, as a coach and a manager, I set targets every month for the team. A certain amount of points I expect them to get. If we fall below that, then we can pick it up the following month. And so far, we've been on track, what I think will get us promotion this year.
OK, thank you very much. Elsewhere in the Wessex Premier League, Tottenham and Ealing looked to capitalise on their home advantage against Bournemouth Poppies last night. In a scrappy first half, Tottenham's Danny Mockridge broke the deadlock with a deflected effort 15 minutes in. But Bournemouth refused to lie down and George Webb pounced on a goalkeeping error to grab an equaliser with 9 minutes to go. The match finished level with Bournemouth remaining 5th and Tottenham moving up to 9th in the Wessex Premier. The university's basketball team faced local rival Southampton last week in their first game of the season. They were looking to get off to a winning start under new coach Craig Sharland. Rebecca Gray was there.
Winchester's Knights wanted to start their season strong, hosting Southampton University's Sharks. Despite being at home, the Knights couldn't get off to a good start. The visitors dominated the first 3 quarters with a strong lead, but the Knights battled on with some impressive breaks and shots as they tried to chase the lead. In the final quarter, the home team almost snatched the win, nearly equalising with the Sharks, but Southampton pulled ahead in the last few minutes of the game to seal their victory.
Well, that's all your sport for today.
So, Karen, have you got any Halloween parties planned?
I've got a few over the weekend, Jake.
And do you know what you're going to be wearing to these parties, Karen?
Got no idea at the moment.
Wow. With some fresh ideas on how to dress for your upcoming Halloween parties, here are Justina Chlad and Hannah Keegan. To see the whole feature and for more award-winning news and sport, don't forget to visit www.winol.co.uk. Until next week, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.